What's up, everybody? Man, I am happy to be live here. I'm very excited because we got to talk X-Men 97. I have been waiting for X-Men 97 for a long time, probably since before I even knew they were going to do it. I remember watching X-Men, the animated series, back when I was younger, and I remember owning it on VHS tapes. And then obviously when we sat there and got the word that X-Men 97 was coming out, so excited. I just couldn't believe it. So now here we are. We're one, two, three episodes in, or are we four episodes in? Nick, what's up, dude?
Hey, um, 4 episodes in, I believe.
Okay, so the first episode, the first X Men '97 was a two-part series. It was the To Me My X Men, and then the Mutant Liberation Begins. That was the two, and then we got Four Mode Flesh or something like that, which was the third one, and then we got Motendo Part
Yeah.
One. Man, I don't even know. First off, welcome, man. It's good to be here. We have been planning something for so long to do something about X Men '97, and I'm happy that we're both here doing it. You've got to forgive my voice. I'm just getting over bronchitis, so my voice is all over the place. But
Hope you're feeling better.
yeah, man, a steroid shot, two antibiotics, and an inhaler will do that to you, man. They just boosted me up like Mr. Sinister over here.
Yes. Get the steroids and start pumping some iron.
Yeah. But man, I was talking about like, okay, when we got the announcement that X-Men 97 was happening, what like we knew it was going to be cool. But did we like am I the only one that was like, yeah, it's going to be cool. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. But am I the only one that may have slightly underestimated how good it really was going to be because we are four episodes in and this might be one of the best things we've seen from Marvel and Disney and the MCU and Disney Plus in a really long time.
Oh, excuse me. I don't think I would have underestimated per se for me. I was very excited for it, and when it hit, it was just as I expected it to be because I was coming off of watching the original run.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was watching it back to back right as I was going into it. So for me, I'm just like, it's like it never ended for me. So it was really pretty awesome.
One of the very first things when Disney Plus came out, what was it? 4 years ago now, maybe? Was that fair to say? 4 years, give or take?
Oh
I
yeah,
don't think it's been five yet. I know my son was little, and I remember getting it, and the countdown began, and right when it went live, it kind of was slow for a while there, but I feel like it was 4 years ago, maybe four and a half.
yeah.
And one of the first things I did when it went live was rewatch all of the X Men animated series. So that I haven't I didn't go back and rewatch it before '97, but I did watch it again, and it's been constant. It's been one of my favorite animated series. Period. Dude, they have given us this has got to be so comic accurate too. Like for everybody that sits there and talks about how the MCU likes to play with the different stories and change things, I get it, and not everything's going to be the same, but X Men so far has literally ripping storylines and character design, whether you agree with the character design or not, right from the comic books and given us, man, peak X Men. I mean, dude, I've never been a Cyclops fan, ever. And I understand him. I've just never been a fan. Bro, they are giving my man some justice, even though he is kind of still whiny. They are giving him justice. They are giving Storm the spotlight that she deserves. Like, and it's hard to really outshadow Magneto, but what I love about it is we are seeing that next phase of Magneto that he's kind of, we don't know exactly where he's going to land in the end, but we're seeing that where he just lost Xavier. Although they've been enemies, that was his best friend. He knows that. He had that respect for and love for Xavier. He didn't agree with them at all, and they came to blows. But now he's there at a moment to change his ways from everybody he's lost. He's older now. He wants to lead the X Men. Xavier's gone, and we're seeing that battle with him, with what he's trying to do. And dude, honestly, I think the show's pretty perfect. I don't know.
Yeah, I think my only complaint is what they did to Rogue, as far as like
They took her
behind
booty
her.
away.
Yeah, I think that's my only
Man,
complaint.
they dropped the booty, man. It was kind of weird, right? Like,
Yeah,
it was
maybe she just didn't
obvious
hit the gym as
weird.
much
Do
anymore.
you
I don't
think
know.
that, like, do you think they were like back in the day were like, check this out, and then like now they're like, we got to compensate for it a little bit. We're gonna drop the booty a little, like I don't know, man. But dude, what are we getting? Like, dude, that episode was Sinister. It was one episode, and I swear to God, that was better than half the X Men movies out there.
Yeah, yeah, and just I was really happy to see them setting up Cable and just being able to do that. And oh man, it was great to see Jean being able to shine like that and just setting up the whole clone situation in general. And I love them having fun with the power sets. Like going back to Cyclops in the first episode, for instance, how he was just like they were really having fun with him. How he's just like using his sonic blast to like blast himself forward. He's blasting it into the ground so he can like do all these types of different moves. And then in the latest episode, you have fun with why am I forgetting her name? Wow, she was what's her name?
Talking about Jubilee?
Jubilee. Why can't I remember her name? So I love how the older digital her, she's like, hey, look at the powers you're gonna have in the future once you start developing it. I'm like, hey
It is
yo.
pretty cool, and it's really cool to see them like when Cyclops charged up Bishop. I was like,
Yes.
bro. Because, I mean, Bishop, we forget how powerful Bishop really is. And
Mm-hmm.
when he's like, hit me, I was like, oh, like they're using things that they haven't done in the movies or that they would have done in the comic books. They've given them to us, and they're amping up that level. Gambit charging up, we saw it in the preview, charging up the animanium to help out Wolverine. Like, they're piggybacking off each other. Their team, it's a unit. It's a real team, and we're seeing that. Meanwhile, there's this whole weird, strange thing happening with them now that Xavier's dead. Magneto's literally there. There are some that are willing to give Magneto a chance. There are others that are sitting back. We have these roles shifting. Now we have this massive thing, these new characters. I mean, they're familiar with Sinister, obviously. This isn't the first time they've dealt with him, but he's still around. He's still at this peak level, and he's a menace. He is going to be a problem. He is not going away anytime soon. And now you have this child, Cable, which has the disease that we've all known about. And now they got to go. You're going to the future. Forge is trying to help Storm get her powers back. Like, there's some serious storylines, and I tell everybody, like, somebody said something to me like, oh, I don't like the fact that Storm lost her powers. I'm like, dude, I hate to be those people that are like, read a comic book, because I understand some people just don't want to do that, but read a comic book, because guess what, that happened in there, like
Hasn't
that.
everyone lost their powers at some point in the
So I'm
comics?
saying, like, that happens. That's a real thing. That's a massive story. I didn't expect to see Forge, to be honest with you.
I I was counting on it, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't have been upset if he didn't appear, but when I saw him, I was like, yes, that was great to see because like it just seemed right.
Yeah.
So, and when I was thinking of like how Storm was gonna get her powers back, when I saw Forge appeared, I was like, that makes sense. And how they were explaining his powers, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, because I kind of forgot how his powers worked for a second, and then them going into detail, I was like, oh yeah, he is really awesome. Like that's although I gotta admit, like I'm wondering how long Storm had been there, or how long because that was like their first time meeting, right?
Well, so if we remember, like the previous X Men series, the first half, we saw Forge in
Right.
the future with Cable actually,
Yeah.
but Forge was never there in the past with the X Men. We never saw
Okay.
him.
Because I was
So
wondering if Storm, because I couldn't remember if that was Storm's first time meeting Forge. Because when he was just like, "I love you," I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! This is very fast development."
yeah, and I might be missing something. It might be something I need to revisit. I mean, I don't remember seeing Forge in that timeline with Storm unless he knew Storm in the future, and that's where that love comes from because Storm died in the future. I don't,
Yeah, that
because
would
you know
make
what I mean.
sense.
That would, you know what I mean, like he met her during that time, and then let's not forget we lost the X Men, in the
Yeah,
future in that timeline. So maybe there is something that happened there, and now he's where he is right now, trying to love her and remember that. And I really don't know, but there's something interesting there, and that's why I didn't think that we would even see Forge to be. I didn't think that Forge was even going to be in this. It's crazy that Bishop is. They didn't really explain that either. They didn't explain that Bishop's just here now.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, I
yeah.
mean, I'm not mad about it. Look, it's a cartoon, it's an animated series. Like, I'm not gonna pick on it, but I remember the end of the X Men animated series, and Bishop wasn't there. So now
He
he's
was
there
on
with a
vacation.
haircut. Yeah, he's there. He's there with a haircut and ready to roll. Like, I mean, I'm okay with it because why not? But what's interesting though is I think the X Men, and I know that they talked about it, that what's happening on the X Men animated series in '97 is not going to be, connected to the MCU and as far as that goes. Like, and that's fine. We don't need that cartoon storyline to match with anything that's going on with the MCU. Quite frankly, if it did, I think it would be kind of annoying. We need a little separate entity.
Yeah.
But what they get to do is they get to play around with a lot of ideas, and they get to play around with a lot of characters and see not only how they're well received, but what they can do with them from storyline, character development, action sequences, and then decide, are those characters actually going to be able to make it into live action? Because there's some characters on the animated show that are just better on the animated show than they're going to be in live action. We're not going to get every single live action X-Men, and
Hmm.
we don't need it. You know what I mean? We don't. So it's kind of cool, and they're really playing with the storylines for some of these villains to kind of get away from Magneto. Magneto's important. Don't get me wrong, and I want to see Magneto live action again, but I don't need him right away. It's
Yeah.
we give me Sinister. Quite frankly, make him be the big bad because we've never truly had Sinister live action. We had some little post credit scenes that teased to some crap, but we never got Sinister live action. You give us this type of evil Sinister, dude. We're in. Sign
Yeah.
me up. And I think he's going to be the big bad through the rest of the show, mostly, in my opinion.
I think that would be good because he's definitely the type of character that deserves that amount of spotlight. It's not a character that you should do for just like an episode or two and just be like, yeah, he's
No.
good, he's good. That's it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool to kind of like sneak him in and have him, dunk a baby in some goo. But, which, by the way, was that not like a disturbing scene to you?
It was. I'm like, yo. When I was texting you about it, I'm like, what is this?
I know. Like, I didn't expect it. I just expected him to do a little, like, potion thing. And then all of a sudden he just, like, dunks him in this goo. And I'm like, this dude's a maniac, dude. This dude's a flat out menace, bro. There's a giant moth in my house right now. I don't want to get him. Um, but I'm gonna
Is
have to kill him
Sinister
because I'm not
listening
gonna
in on
sleep in
you?
my bedroom with him. Um, but yeah, I was like, dude, this guy is so bad. So I'm excited to see that, but I'm also excited to see because the show ends. I think the season finale is May 15th, if I'm not mistaken. So we got some time. We got some time. But I heard a rumor that they were already writing another season. I could be wrong. I don't know who because
Um,
they fired one guy, but
yeah, I heard that. I thought, well, I could be wrong, but I thought they had already finished season two. I thought season three was greenlit, but I don't know. I never really know with what's going on in the news, to be
I don't
honest,
either.
with these shows.
And I think they could. I think this is something that you don't have to do a one and done with. You could give us a couple seasons of this
Yeah.
because there's so much to explore. And again,
Hmm.
you can pull from the comic books and really dive into it and kind of see, okay, what angle are we going to go? But it
Yeah.
also opens the doors for other animated shows. Do you think that because of the success of X-Men 97, that they could bring back other animated Marvel shows?
Oh yeah, that was what was so fun too about X-Men back then too, was that they crossed over with all the other shows. Like we had like how popular Spider-Man was back then too, and how they crossed together. It was so fun. Like
That's true.
I still remember how fun it was when Spider-Man went and sought out the X-Men because of, I'm trying to remember. I think it was when he was turning into a arachnid himself.
Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you're right. I remember that.
Yeah, and he was just trying to figure out, like, he was trying to figure out a cure or something, and he was, yeah, so I remember that whole situation. I think they teamed up for some other things too. And there was a Avengers thing that happened. There was a Secret
Yep,
Wars thing
there
that
was.
happened. So they're, yeah, they could do a lot of fun things. And I would
I
love to see
really
some more Spider-Man stuff with that too.
I need to go back and watch those Spider-Man again. That's one that I haven't gone back and revisited all of them yet, but I definitely think I should. I think that opens up an opportunity, and I think, quite frankly, this gives Disney Plus is the perfect platform for something like this because number one, we've said it time and time again. We need more content on Disney Plus. Yes, I love that Hulu is merged on Disney, and I can. But as far as Disney Plus being a platform goes, we need more content on there, and they've dropped some random stuff like you got like all of a sudden Doctor Who's on there and stuff like that, and that's great. But they need to, if they're going to create content for their big entities like Marvel and all that, then they need to do something not just live action and start diving into these animated shows, animated movies. I mean, one thing that WB and DC did good was create those animated films that are all over Max and all that, all these different one shots and different stories. And they created these really cool animated movies. They couldn't do crap for live action, but they created, great animated films. And you can go on Max right now and watch, Reign of the Superman and all these really cool Death of Superman and Gotham by Gaslight and all these cool storylines. I think that Marvel, that's the one thing they've been lacking, and this might give them a really good opportunity to kind of open the doors and give us some of that. Because not every like character needs to have a live action, and not every character needs to be, a series. There's some great characters that could be animated series, and you could just have that as a sole special animated show strictly on Disney Plus.
Yeah, buddy. Side subject, have you seen Superman versus the Elite?
I have not.
It is a animated movie. It
Yeah.
is really cool, I think.
Is that on Max right now?
I believe so.
So I'm openly admit that I have not watched all of the animated movies that DC has put out. I've watched a decent amount for sure, but then I just got kind of burned out and I was like, eh. But yeah, there's several that are on my list. Like when they have that Soviet Superman. Did you see that one?
I didn't, but
Dude, I was a fan.
oh,
I
it
forgot
was.
what it's called. Like not the Red Superman. It's something like that though. And it's just like, what if he landed in
Oh,
Russia? Like, yeah, it's cool, man. The Batman ones were always good. I really enjoyed it. Gotham by Gaslight was one of my favorite
Yeah, I saw that
Batman
one.
comic books because it was so twisted. It was just I mean, taking Batman back to the Jack the Ripper days. I always thought that was really cool.
That
Um,
one threw me for a loop. I was
yeah,
surprised.
and it was really interesting because he was advanced and he was a detective, but he still was in this time frame where he didn't have all that technology, so he had to do all these unique things. And then they made the movie out of it. And I really enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
I think that that's the way that DC, or I'm sorry, Marvel should go. And I think that X Men opens the doors. Here's a question because I've heard mixed reviews.
Hmm.
The last episode, the Motendo.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on the Motendo Jubilee? This is not the first time that we've seen Mojo in the X Men. He was on, he was back before they did a two-part in the original run. So, what do you think about Mojo in this one?
It was honestly, I thought I'm always a fan when they have like video game elements in
Sure.
like pop culture. So it was just fun having this immersive experience and like the callback to the X-Men video game where they're running around on the streets fighting this stuff, like going and the idea that it was through Jubilee's memories. I thought that was actually really cool. And the plot line of it dealing with how Mojo was doing these test runs using all these copies of Jubilee, and how it was a bunch of I guess they were basically these AI versions of Jubilee, which is kind of sad in a way
Yeah,
that they
because
all
they
kind
all
of
died. They all got destroyed except for the one, essentially.
yeah, and even yeah, and in the end it's just like dang. But honestly, by the end of it, I think my only two complaints was I wanted to see more of that, and I wanted to see more of the actual like fighting scenes.
Yeah, so the Mojo thing for me, and I know I'm going to sound like like everybody. It was like a pacing issue for me because the way that the show has started and what they were building up, and then we just had the whole Sinister thing, and
Hmm.
he went from that and jumped right into Mojo. I was like,
Oh, yeah,
you
I
know what
get
I'm
what you mean.
saying?
Yeah,
Like, I was
that
like,
makes
whoa,
sense.
we just had some really intense, massive revelations going on,
Hmm.
some big stuff, and now you're giving me, although it's intense, it's kind of a lighthearted episode, you know?
Yeah.
And it's Mojo who is that character.
Hmm.
Number one, I'm not the biggest Mojo fan in the world, like it's not one of my
Yeah.
favorites, but I thought that they handled it well, and I thought they gave us something new. It wasn't just repetitive nonsense. But it is a part one. Now, what I saw is that part two. I gotta stop moving my chair. What I saw was part two is not next week.
Huh.
So, unless I'm reading the layout wrong, and it's on my back of the screen here, I'll have to look at that later. So it goes to another episode, and then it's going to go to the Motendo part two, and I'm like, okay, so they're not wrapping up that. We're just going to have Jubilee MIA. And maybe they're going to focus on Storm. Maybe they're going to focus on the future. And it's okay. You don't have to go in like chronological order.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I wasn't upset about it. I didn't think it was a bad episode. I think that it was they added some uniqueness to it. I just after coming down that big, like dude, those first three episodes are very intense, and
Yeah.
especially that last one with Sinister. I was like, oh my god, what's next? And then you gave us Mojo, and I was like, and it's fine. I know it's a really little criticism. I'm not bashing. It's definitely been my least favorite episode. And I think had it been maybe later on or maybe before the Sinister episode, it might have had a different feel for it. But coming after that and everything we're dealing with Storm and Magneto and Sinister and Cable, and then it's like, oh, Jubilee is trapped in a video game right now, and yeah, it's fun and
Yeah.
there's some callbacks and some cool little things that we can point out. But it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't my favorite in the original run, to be honest with you.
Yeah. That's fair too. It's it's not my favorite episode. I just appreciated the idea that Jubilee has an upgrade and that
Yeah,
she
yeah, no, fair, fair.
like that was actually cool because I always was like, man, like the idea of what Jubilee can do is awesome. And I'm like, I feel like she has something she can, because I'm not really fluent in what she can, like, if there's anything else she's been able to do outside of like the show. Because is she in the comics or is she just in the show?
Oh, I'm pretty sure she's in the comic books, man.
Okay, because
If
I have no
somebody
idea
out
if she
there,
ever
look,
transitions.
look, if there's look, I don't know. I will openly admit that I don't know Jubilee's publication history or her, her stories. But I'm 99.99% sure that yes, she's in the comics.
Yeah, that
But I
maybe makes
also,
sense.
I'll be honest with you, I don't. She, because Jubilee's never been one of my favorite characters. She's never been somebody I've really gotten behind. Because I always felt like she had potential, but we never saw it and we
Yeah,
never reached it. At least on the animated series, and then all the comic books I've read, I don't remember her.
yeah, that's what I mean too. Like, out of all the comic books I've read, the ones I've heard about from like Comic Historian or Comics Explained, I've never heard her mentioned or talked about. And I mean like the big ones or even the small events.
Yeah,
I'm like, I've never heard her or seen her. So I'm like, where is this girl?
right.
So
That is interesting. Yeah, because there's too much of a history there for her to just kind of fall by the wayside. And some of those big storylines, you're like, I don't know, man. But then look
yeah,
at what they did in the movies.
yeah, didn't even see her. I don't remember seeing her at all there either.
We saw her for a second in one of them,
Oh,
and I forgot which one it was. But
hmm.
they focus on Kitty Pride and all those other ones. But yeah. So maybe there's something to that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like they wouldn't just make her up for the show, right?
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be the
I mean,
first
they
time.
could, guys. If there's, I know there's somebody out there. Somebody's gonna sit there and see this and be like, "These guys don't know what they're talking about." Blah
Well,
blah.
actually, 1976,
1976. It
issue
appeared on Stan
46.
Lee's napkin, and that's fine. Like if it does, please tell me. I want to know. But that being said, I also don't care very much about Jubilee. But I do think that if they're gonna sit there and do a story with her, then yeah, let's dive it. Let's dive in. Let's give her more than what we've seen in the first 3 seasons of X Men. Now going on a season 4, so to speak. Let's give her more. I'm really curious to see the direction they go with Magneto because obviously I'm a Magneto fan. But I'm really curious to see how that's going to pan out. Is it going to take us into the future? Because into the future, he is leading the X Men. And so if this is the start of it, and he's taking us to through the Age of Apocalypse or the Onslaught series, or we'll skip Onslaught because that's Xavier, but like into the future where the X Men are eradicated and, all that, he's leading them. He's the one that's there. So if this is the start of it, is that going to connect with Cable going to the future and now Forge is here? Like, I want to see what they're going to do at this and how they're going to end this season.
Yeah. And I'm wondering one thing too about what is Rogue doing with
We know what
Magneto?
she's doing. She's down, bro. She's down, dude.
Oh man. See, part of me was kind of wondering if she's just kind of using her feminine charm to kind of see if he has some plan. Like, I don't know. Part of me was like,
Yeah, but Magneto's not dumb, dude. He's not gonna fall just for
yeah,
some hood rat, just to like, like just like it's not the first time that he's met Rogue, so he's like overwhelmed by her amazing charm and sexuality.
yeah,
Like he's fought her multiple times, so he knows her game.
yeah. But
And
I'm wondering if she like touches him, I wonder if she'll be like, "Oh, I know your memories now. You're gonna kill us all." I don't know, something
true.
weird like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she's just tired of Gambit. I
Oh
mean,
man.
I honestly, Gambit and her just kind of look. Some things just don't work out, man. You know, like
C'est la vie.
Magneto swoop. He's a master of magnetism, bro. He's literally swooping her in, dude. Like, come on, dude. You are not gonna compete with that. You know, like even Wolverine isn't attacking Magneto. So what does that tell you? Like Wolverine's just chilling in the back. He's like, I don't know about this guy, but I don't feel like fighting right now, so I'm just gonna chill, which is unheard of, right?
Well,
It's unheard of.
to be fair, I think Wolverine knows what, what would happen if you tried to
True.
attack
He's
him.
like, bro, I'm not doing it. He's like, I'm not having my adamantium ripped out again, bro. Like
This
that
dude,
literally killed me. Like had bone
yeah,
claws forever.
no bueno.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting dynamic to see because most of them are cautious, but they're not doing anything.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about because of the idea of Xavier leaving that idea, that wish, I guess, in his will for, of all people, Magneto should do it instead of someone like Cyclops, which was
Well, it's
interesting.
interesting. He might have Xavier could have wrote that will back when him and Magneto were buddies.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And never
yeah,
changed it in hopes that Magneto would carry that legacy. Xavier might have always had it in his mind of I'm going to get this guy one day or another, no matter what happens, to carry this legacy, whether it's my exact same way or similar, he's going to do it.
yeah.
I mean, Cyclops had to feel kind of screwed, but there's also a reason. Yeah, we could sit there and say Cyclops is the leader. There's no problem. But there's also the reason that maybe Cyclops isn't ready for that. He's still pretty childish. I mean, out of everything, he's like, I would never abandon my son just like my kids, just like I was abandoned. Oh, you're taking him to the future? I'm not going with you.
I need a
You
minute.
literally, you literally just abandoned him. You just left.
I
I'm
had
not
to,
going with you.
I had to pause. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, you just said you wouldn't abandon
Right.
me.
You just gave us a speech, and then one thing made you mad, and you're like, nah, I'm not going with him. You know what? I will never abandon my son. And guess what? I'm not going with him. Thank you, Wakanda Forever. Yeah, see you there, buddy. But yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like, so I don't know. It's interesting. I think we are, and if I go look at some of those titles, we could see that there's going to be a definitely some future episodes. Meaning, we'll see Cable in the future. We'll see what the future likes. Dude, X-Men is so good. Yeah, I agree. That's what we're talking about. So I'll put the question to you out there, Wakanda Forever. By the way, give him a follow. Favorite character on X Men animated 97 right now? What do you think? Nick, as we wait for him to answer, who's your favorite character on X Men 97 so far?
I'd have to say Batman.
You're fired. Wakanda Forever Storm. Yeah, I get it, man. Storm is, dude, she's getting the love that she deserves. Like we're seeing her, like even in her presence. Even Magneto was like treating her like the queen that she was. Like he was pissed, and he was. I loved everything about that. So that's a good one, dude.
Yeah, it's
I could see that.
tricky. I'm torn between either Beast because every time he talks, I just love all the references he makes.
Yes,
Like he's
dude.
always referencing some kind of book or just an
The
awesome quote.
dialogue is great, dude. The quotes and the dialogue. Absolutely love Beast.
Yeah, either between him and Magneto because I do
Yeah.
love what he's doing, and I'm always a sucker for villains turned good, even if he ends up not being truly good by the end of the day, or if he's an anti-villain per se or whatever he's ending up being. I think they're tied, honestly, for me.
I would say nobody has beat Magneto for me yet. And this phase of Magneto, I appreciate because just knowing from what he does in the comic books, and really knowing his true story and his true character and what drove him to do that. I'm not saying Magneto's never done things that have been like menacing or over the top, but where it comes from, and then now seeing him direct that leadership and those. I mean, he took those guys to space essentially. And the end was like, I could end you all right here, right now. Like, watch what I can do. And I'm like, dang. And he did it with such calm, cool collectiveness. So I think Magneto for me is that. Let's see. Cyclops saying, give him the forecast. Yeah, no. Dude, that's what we were saying. They are flat out using them as a team, as a unit, and really having fun showing us their powers, changing their powers, and manipulating their powers. And I think that's something, number one, that was kind of, in a way, lacking in the movies, even though they had good moments. I think that's something we need to get back to really show that continuity, like we saw in Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that, with teams really really working together and exposing, not exposing, exploiting how big their powers are. So I'm really caught up on the Sinister thing. I really hope we get more of that. I don't mind seeing cameos from other, villains or rogues galleries or things like that. But I think that if you can have that theme of the main villain setting the, pieces and moving the chess pieces for down the road in the future, I think that's what the X Men is, especially with people like Sinister and stuff like that. I'm excited to
That's
see that.
that's what I really like. How I don't know why I'm forgetting his name now. How he keeps transforming into all these other different X
Oh,
Men and
Morph,
yeah,
yeah,
Morph.
dude,
I just love how he's just
bro, Morph
transforming into
cracking me up,
everybody.
bro. Bro, every time I turn around, Morph is somebody else, and I keep thinking somebody just appeared out of nowhere. Because they
Yeah,
do it, and I'm like, what's that guy doing there? And I'm like, oh, it's Morph.
yeah. I'm like, wait, was he even in the show?
Yeah, right? It's cool. It's cool, man. And I think that we'll see, I really liked how in the beginning of this show, we always get the Marvel banner, and we're always looking to see who they add in it. And this time we got the Marvel animation banner for the first time. And they went and showed us a bunch of Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and so that leads me to believe, like, okay, you guys just hit the nail on the head with this. You need to roll with it. What's an animated character that you want to see debut in the X, or maybe not debut in the X Men, that you hope appears in X Men '97?
Mm, an animated character in general.
Yeah, because there's quite a few. I'll answer this, Wakanda. What you think? I'm really thinking they should just make the X Men in the MCU animated and it be there first. Well, I mean that's essentially what they're doing. I mean, if you think about it, I mean the X Men, the animated X Men, is in Marvel, but it's not in the MCU as we know it. It's not connected to the movies, but it's there first. The mutants that we have in the MCU are not X Men, although we will have, well, technically we have Beast now, and then we'll have Deadpool. We'll have Wolverine and Deadpool, so we'll have two main X Men. Whether those are the two X Men that stay with this timeline, we have no idea. But we do have Beast and we do have that. But essentially, the X Men, yeah, I mean they are animated in the Marvel world right now. And like we were saying earlier, this gives them a great opportunity to play with characters, give us real characters and see if they work. See if these X Men characters and these storylines will work in live action, or can we just keep them in animated? Because, frankly, again, and we talked about this earlier, not all of them need to be live action. You can
Yeah,
have your X Men going into the live action phase and going into those storylines, and you can have your other X Men on an animated show and introduce us some of these more wild, outlandish characters and see what
yeah.
happens.
I want to see Nightcrawler, but at the same time, I kind of want to see like someone new debut. But I'm still trying to think who would be great.
Yeah, Nightcrawler in the animated wasn't my favorite. He was better in the movies. I
Yeah,
thought,
especially X2.
bro, yeah, dude, Nightcrawler was great. I think I don't want to see Apocalypse right now. He interests me because I think his story's great, but I don't want to see that. But I would love to
Ooh,
see crossover with some guys from Spider-Man. Some of the Spider-Man guys crossover. Did we ever see Blade in a? We saw him in a Spider-Man, didn't we?
I
We saw
believe so.
Morbius. We definitely saw Morbius in the Spider-Man animated series. We probably
Yeah.
don't. Did we see Blade in the Spider-Man? I don't know if I want to see Blade in the X-Men '97, but I'm not against it if it makes sense.
Let's bring Blade in so he can do something since the movie's taken forever, so we don't lose the
Bro, at this
actor.
point in the game, my man is gonna bail out of that movie. I don't
Yeah.
know how they could screw up that movie so much, but already I'm mad about it. Like
Yeah.
it is postponed, rewritten, fired. You're about to lose a dude that you could have had 2 to 3 Blade movies with. By the time you get this one done and start the next one, you're gonna be like 90.
Yeah, it's like
Stupid,
ridiculous at
dude.
this point.
Yeah, there's some things going on, and I'm not gonna blame. Well, we had to postpone because of the writer's strike. You postponed it before the writer's strike, but there's some things going on in the MCU with the live stuff, with the movies, and I'm like,
Th-
get it
this
together,
is
guys.
this is why at this point I'm like, y'all should start like connecting some animated ones to the MCU to save some time on some stuff since this is
Well,
taking forever.
I mean, and I think they're just looking. All right, man, you had to sleep, man. You see you, man. Thank you, Wakanda. Thanks for joining, my friend.
Yeah, take care.
My thing is like, you got a big reset coming. We know it's coming.
Hmm.
They're probably going to end some of these things. I mean, they have to, right?
Yeah. Hopefully none of the stuff they literally did like one thing on, but
True,
we'll see.
true. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But there's a couple characters that I was thinking. Always Scott Pilgrim vs. World in April movie of the month. Oh, all right. We're actually going to see Scott Pilgrim vs. World. They're doing a fan fest of it at Flicks Brew House. So okay, April movie of the month. All right, man. Keep me posted on that
Oh.
live, dude.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we could do. There's a lot of cool characters I think we could bring in, and I think we could cross over. I mean, you've got some characters from Avengers that you could bring in. You don't. But for now, for me, I want to keep it within the Ant Man, the Ant Man, the X Men universe. I don't mind crossing over, but I think there's so much material and so many cool things, and we've been dying to see this cool sort of X Men thing for a while. That I think that's kind of where we need to go.
Yeah. And there's a lot of X-Men too, but I'm trying to it's hard to remember because there's a lot of X-Men that I've seen, but the only X-Men I can think of right now are the ones with the powers that would not be fun to see.
Right.
Because there's a list that I watched on YouTube the other day where it's like, oh, okay, this was a gag character.
Well, and then there's things like they could do the Onslaught. Well, Xavier's dead now, but the whole Onslaught series was amazing.
Yeah,
The Age of Apocalypse is a really good series, but I think we're just not ready for it yet.
yeah,
I don't think we need to revisit that. There's a ton of future series that they could do. There's just so much, and again, diving into Sinister, diving into Cable, like they haven't introduced us to Sabretooth yet, which is fine, but they could do some more awesome Sabretooth stuff. Like, there's a lot they could do. So I hope that for the rest of the season, we really get into that and we get to see what they're gonna be capable of going forward. And yeah, if they finish season 2 and they're allegedly doing a season 3, dude, I'm in. I mean, this has been the most excited I have been for an MCU show in a long time.
yeah. I
It
mean,
really has, dude.
it's great to see a comeback with animated stuff, and it's even the fact that it's not connected to the MCU that shows how great the content is, that even though it's not connected, it's still quality stuff, and that shows how much passion, how true the the people that are working on this are really doing their thing on this. So
Yeah,
that's great.
they are, man, and they're giving it their all. I mean, just this poster alone, dude. I mean, everything they've done, the way that they debuted it, the way they gave us the teaser, bro. You cannot stop but listen to that music and get excited every Wednesday, man. And what I like about it too is, I don't know if it's what time it exactly drops, but what I like about it the most is I can get up early and I can watch it before my son gets up. So like it's like 5 a.m. and I'm like, got my coffee and I'm hearing that music and I'm just like, because then I can just really enjoy it. And then, because he doesn't really have a desire to watch it. I don't know why. Yeah, it's weird. But then then like he goes to school and then usually then I'll watch it again later. Like, okay, now let me soak it in and really see. But it's that Saturday morning, man. It's Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
And instead of making us wait, it's there. I wake up, it's there. And that's what I like about it. So, well, I'm excited to see what comes out. I know we'll probably do some sort of wrap up once all these X-Men ends in May. We've got some stuff coming up, obviously, both together and individually. We are vastly approaching May the 4th. So we have massive Star Wars days coming up. We know we've got new Star Wars content down the pipe. We've got the Acolyte coming up. We now have the is it called? It's Tales of the Empire, right? It's not Tales of the Jedi. What is it? It's the new one that's coming out on. I'm saying I'm so not prepared. It drops on
Hmm.
April 4th, and this one's focused on the Empire.
April
Uh, th-
4th.
May 4th. Sorry,
Oh, I was about to say.
May
Oh,
4th. I
it's
told you guys I'm
February.
tired and I'm sick and I'm on drugs. But May the 4th, and it focuses on the Empire. We're going to see Thrawn in there, and I'm excited about it because I think we see how some of these. I think we see the invasion of. We see Grievous back. We see a lot. I don't know if you've seen the trailer. You
Oh,
haven't watched the trailer yet? Bro,
no.
go watch it.
Oh,
Go watch it.
oh, that's gonna be awesome. Okay.
So yeah, this is basically going to be we're going to see how Thrawn connects to the Night Sisters and all that. Nice animated series that's coming out. So, and I know it's not. I mean, I don't know why they call it Tales of the Jedi when it's focused on the Empire, but it is that Tales of the Jedi
That is
format
weird.
that we saw, like when we
Yeah.
learned about Ahsoka and all that. So, but check out the trailer; it's amazing. So we're going to be talking about some of that. We're going to be talking about the rest of Bad Batch, but we have our annual podcast that we do every Star Wars celebration, May the 4th. But that'll be coming out. We'll drop some more information about that. We're going to be doing some more TikTok lives. Nick, what do you got going on, man? I know you've been working hard on your books and you're working hard on stuff like that. Is there anything else coming down the pipe here?
So I'm trying to work on a episode for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Nice.
That game is I'm trying to think of the right word. I guess suffering at the moment
I believe you.
because Rocksteady, I don't know what's going on with them. Because they're they it's like they know how to write Batman, but they don't know how to write, I guess, it for the fans, if that makes sense. So it's a little tricky. Or actually, let me rephrase that. They know how to write the story, but as far as writing it for a live service game,
They're
that's the issue.
struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. So the story's stretched out, and we have no idea where it's going. So we're not sure if the Justice League is coming back. There are leaks that they are, but we have no idea. So far, the Justice League is dead, but it's like they're kind of hinting that they're coming back. Season one dropped, and it's like, okay, it's there's tidbits here and there. That's kind of cool, but it was kind of lackluster. but there's still great potential. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be talking about with the podcast. Just kind of keeping the light, the little embers burning, because there's still a good handful, more than a handful of people really interested, really still playing this game. And I
Sure.
just want to kind of help add some wood to that fire, to kind of help show that, hey, we still care about this game. Keep it alive, at least for the story, at least the base storyline to end, you know?
Right.
Because we want to at least have that finish, before they cut it off, because we all know how WB is.
Yeah, they'll kill it, dude. They don't
Yeah,
care. They'll do it. So
yeah. So there's that. I'm gonna be starting narrating. I'm gonna start narrating for the podcast. I'm probably gonna put the other book on the back burner as far as narrating that. I'm gonna narrate Quantum Cab instead, the first one,
there you
since I'm
go.
gonna be releasing the second one next, because I'm already closing in on 100 pages on that. So that's currently what I'm working on.
Nice. Nice. Well, there you go, guys. Make sure you follow him. I mean, I've tagged him in everything that I do for the most part. Make sure that you follow him too. Check out his pod, check out his books, check out his artwork. We're gonna continue to try to do better at these and making them more consistent. It's hard, man. It is. It's hard with our lives. We get exhausted, and then our time schedule, and then but we are going to definitely work on that and continue to do some fun stuff on here. More stuff from Star Wars. We'll do a follow up to the X-Men, and then we might just come up here and talk about some different stuff. So, but you can go ahead and check out all that. Follow Nick right here on TikTok. Government hasn't shut us down yet, so there we go. We're gonna keep rocking and rolling. I mean, we're dodging the bullets. Keep dodging.
I forgot about
We do
that.
got the eclipse tomorrow, so who knows? But for those of you that are going to partake in the eclipse tomorrow, I will be there. Of course, I'm in the complete line of so the pathway.
Ooh.
Yeah, so 140, 135 to 140 tomorrow, I believe. So I'm going to try to get some footage. I don't know. I'm really excited to look at the shadows. That's one thing that
Yeah.
people forget about. Like looking up is great, and there's also a massive comet flying by the same time as the eclipse, so that's crazy.
Wow.
It's called the Devil's Comet. Not this is. You wonder why conspiracy theorists are coming up with things. Well, they're getting a lot of information hey, by the way, there's an eclipse, cool, and there's a comet coming by called the Devil's Comet, cool, and an earthquake just happened in New Jersey, okay, and they're starting CERN, oh, okay. I understand why people put on the tinfoil hats and start going crazy, but
The connections.
yeah, it's all connected. I'm just worried, if you guys have seen the movie The Mist, if that
Oh,
happens, if we're, I got nothing. But it's cool. Everybody's looking up at the sky, but really, one of the coolest things is looking at all the shadows because everything's just so messed up and I can't even wrap my head around it. So I'm gonna try to video pictures, put some sunglasses on my phone, look through my phone. I don't know, but
ooh. I gotta see how it's gonna look over here. I completely forgot about that.
I know, and I don't know if you're in the path. Look it up.
Yeah, I gotta see what it if yeah if
Yeah,
at all.
because I know it's gonna be a little cloudy here tomorrow too, but hey, you're going to get about 5 minutes of darkness. Temperature's going to drop about 8.5 degrees to 9 degrees, and then it's a weird feeling. So, and we won't get another one till we're long gone and dead. So,
Hey yo.
might as well check it out.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. I think the next one, like this particular, full blown, I feel like it's like 100 years from now or something like that. Yeah.
That is a crazy gap.
I know. Yeah, I think so.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, dude, I'm gonna, walk. My son's got everything lined up at school. They're
Man.
doing it. They all the kids got glasses. So
The last one was like 6 years ago.
the full eclipse.
Well, a eclipse at least.
We had, dude. So here's the thing. We had eclipse here just in Texas, like not just in Texas, obviously, but we saw it back 6 months ago. And
Mm.
but we weren't in the total path, so it was only a partial
Mm. Okay, maybe I
because
got
of
my
where the
eclipse
path I was. It
confused.
was really cool when you put the glasses on. It did get a little darker at night, but not
Yeah.
like this is going to get. And you put the glasses on and you could see it. But what was really cool was the shadows more than anything. Well, now
Yeah.
this one's a perfect path, and I swear it's 100 years. I'll look it up in a minute, but yeah,
Okay, if that's the case, then what I saw was probably back then was probably not a perfect eclipse then. It was probably a
yeah. This
partial.
is this is gonna be like full blown. Let's let it ride. So. But look it up.
Nice.
See if you're in the path, man. Because and it'll be different times, but you might as well check it out. I mean,
Yeah, I'll
So
be outside too, so yeah.
there you go. Just don't look at it without glasses, bro. Don't do
Right.
it. Don't
Yeah.
do it. Bad idea, bro.
I'm surprised Trump did.
Right? I know. Stupid.
Just like,
But yeah, this is crazy. But it's gonna be wild. So we'll see what happens, and then we'll be back. We'll be back. I don't know when, but soon. And keep following. And yeah. So Nick, thanks for joining. It's 10:30 now. I made it in an hour. I did a good thing. And I kind of want to watch X Men. I wish tomorrow was Wednesday so I
yeah,
can
me
watch
too.
it. I know. I might go back and watch another episode. I don't know. So, all right, but we'll be back and we'll do this again, guys. Thanks for joining. Keep TikTok alive. Keep supporting. Keep following. We'll see you guys next time.
Oh yeah. See y'all.
Yeah. In this thing.
Oh,